Привет, как дела? У меня тоже все хорошо. Сегодня, today, you learn how you can introduce yourself in Russian. You learn how to ask, what's your name? And how to say, my name is, and 2 ways of saying, nice to meet you. This lesson is a part of a structured plan for learning Russian. So if you're a beginner, I recommend you start with the first lesson of the Jumpstart Guide and follow the videos there in the given order. Make sure you have some time for practice too. There is no need to rush. So first of all, keep in mind that you can address someone formally or informally in Russian. We discussed various situations here in this video. Many students actually make a mistake of starting with, for instance, an informal Привет, and then when asking what's your name or where are you from, they would use a formal вы. Or on the opposite, they might start with the formal Здравствуйте and then immediately say ты to a person. In Russian, it doesn't make much sense. If you start informally, you continue the same way. Or if you start in a formal way, then you use вы, and a little later you can offer to switch to informal way of speaking. By the way, how do you do that? Давайте на ты. And there is also a slightly longer phrase too. We covered both of them in the video I mentioned earlier, as well as several examples of formal and informal situations in Russian. So if you need to revise it, just take a moment and check it out. So if you're asking a person, what's your name? In a formal way, you'll say, как вас зовут? Как вас зовут? And an informal question will sound as, как тебя зовут? Как тебя зовут? Once again, как вас зовут? Как тебя зовут? What do you think вас and тебя represent here in these sentences? Вас is one of the forms of the pronoun вы, and тебя is a form of ты. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that Russian nouns, adjectives, pronouns change their endings, or sometimes even the whole look, depending on their grammatical function in a sentence. But for now, let's just focus on remembering these particular phrases. It'll make more sense later. Now, what is зовут? If you open this site, I recommended it for checking conjugation of Russian verbs. You'll find out that зовут is one of the forms of the verb звать, to call. It means they call. So the whole phrase will literally mean, how do they call you? Or in Spanish, it would sound as, ¿Cómo te llaman ellos? To answer this question, you'll say, Меня зовут, for instance, Michael. Меня зовут Michael. What does меня represent here? Right, it's one of the forms of the pronoun я. Меня зовут Michael. It literally means they call me Michael. You can also say Меня зовут Michael. Можно просто Mike. It will mean my name is Michael, but you can just call me Mike. Great job! Now let's try it out. Imagine that we've just met. Привет! Как тебя зовут? Answer, please. Great! Now ask me back about my name. Меня зовут Ольга. I started informally, so you can ask me informally too. Как тебя зовут? Right? Now you want to say nice to meet you. It'll sound as приятно познакомиться. Take a look at this word and at the way it ends. Remember how you read such an ending? You'll always read them as ца. Познакомиться. Приятно познакомиться. Or очень приятно. Приятно means pleasing. Познакомиться is to get acquainted with someone, to meet someone for the first time. You can use either of these phrases. Both mean the same, and both are pretty commonly used. It's a pleasure to meet you. Приятно познакомиться. Or it's such a pleasure. Очень приятно. Great job! I hope you've learned something new today. In the next video, we'll compare Russian and English names, and we'll see how a name in English can be translated into Russian. See you next time. Увидимся. Пока!